that I share this to the community wall. It gets really frustrated that my social media on YouTube pretty much got fragmented throughout the years. And I ended up having to make all these sub channels. Goodness gracious. So I'm going to share this with the community wall on my main original channel that I started in December of 2015. Oh, nice. They do send out my notifications. Okay. All right. So this is High Priestess Jamila. And one of the things that I was not really able to get out and discuss about this uh, subject matter, because I actually have a series that I'm not done with. It'll probably end up being a 10 to 12 part series. Thank you for the thumbs up, whoever that is. Appreciate it. It'll probably be an ongoing series about incubuses and succubuses. And the last time I tried to discuss this on this channel, it just seemed like it was like a bunch of, like, I don't know what was going on. All I can tell you is that, it got out of hand. It did. It got out of hand. And the last time I discussed this, we were already in the middle of cleansing and pretty much calling out these demons by name. Finally. And so let me see how long ago that was when I initially came. It was exactly 7 days ago. And it was so weird. It was so off and odd that it just, felt like I was seeing this uproar in the astral. And we've been eradicating incubuses and succubuses because honestly, I think that when we look at it from a biblical context, they really give these particular demons more power than what they actually have. Hey, Stevon, happy Wednesday. Hello. Um, I think that a lot of people speaking from a biblical perspective tend to give certain evil things like that more power than what they deserve because honestly, they to me are small. They're very small. They're not like powerful incubuses and succubuses, but I think that what does give them some power is how they stay hidden and how they hide behind a lot of stuff. So, as a as a pagan high priestess, actually, I practice Hellenic pagan polytheism as my chosen spirituality. Okay. I don't like them. Okay. I'm not there. I don't consider them to be my friends. Okay. I don't. And so it's been several months, man. It has been several months since I have been talking to you guys about basically spiritual servitors, which I named them spiritual husbands. Okay. That's just like this. Okay. One of my spiritual husbands, I named him Aries. His name was Theodore. I named him Aries. And then it just so happened that my actual real life significant other is an Aries too. Isn't that cute? I created Aries or called him forth rather. I feel like it was more of a creation because I created the relationship. And when I first started doing this, I called them spiritual husbands. And I believe that that message got so warped and so skewed, and people probably assumed that I was speaking about succubuses and incubuses, or either there was probably talk in the background. I'm not a part of background conversations. I come to the forefront, and that's just how it is. So I don't have to go and say, oh, well, this is what she's actually talking about and this is bad. No, if I see you as a problem, I'm going to say it straight up and down. I'm not going to go somewhere and, you know, because the thing of it is that when you hear about people talk about incubis and succubis, people always say that they or your husband, that they consider themselves to be your husband or your wife. And they do. However, I do not feel that they can take those words from us. I can call it that if I want. I'm not going to let a demon, a lower level demon, they think that they're more powerful because they've got numbers, because it's so many of them, because I don't believe the church has any idea how to get rid of them actually, or to at least keep them off this planet. They don't really know, and it's not up to them anyway. Okay? But I'm not going to let them take the word husband and wife from us. So when I created Aries, who is an Aries, okay, I created him from my spirits who are not incubus or succubus. I created them. I created him originally based upon the the planet Mars. The god Aries is who I created him after, right? That was the whole model. Aries, the god of Mars, was the model, or was the blueprint, or was the energy behind me creating my very first spiritual husband, who immediately, I'm talking about at God's speeds, began to make things happen. Literally, I created Aries last August. I made a doll for him, a spirit doll that I still keep in my purse. And I was stuck in a place that I didn't want to be in. And 6 days later, he moved us back home. I know for a fact that he is the one that made that essentially end up happening. So that was a really, really big deal and a really, really big victory for me, because at the time I was in a place where I was stuck, where I did not want to be, in Georgia. And I wanted to come back home to my babies. I wanted to come. I have grandchildren, right? And, probably like less than a month later is when I ran into my significant other, just, randomly in person. So I know that who I call my spiritual husband, Aries, led me there. And Aries is not an incubus at all. He never touches me sexually. He is more so servitor, okay? And he knows that he is a concept that was created out of my magic, out of my imagination, that began to bring forth the reality that I desired. So you're the spiritual husbands that and wives that we create at Divine Services Apothecary, they are not incubuses and they are not succubuses at all. Okay? They're not even modeled after that. In fact, I believe that incubuses and succubuses are factually an annoyance even to the underworld. They're annoying. They are. They're literally like parasites, because that's all that they do. Aries My spiritual husband has never drained me of my energy ever. He's never taken, if anything, he energizes me totally, has given me God's strength, if anything. So there is a difference. Okay. Now, I work a lot with planetary alchemy, I work a lot with the planets, a lot. So I just want to inform you guys of that because I was sitting here and, they're very useful, whether or not they're helping you with someone that you could be in love with, that you are currently with, um, or if you desire to, run into the one. Now, where people get confused, this is where people get confused. And see, this is the reason why love road opening, that is a love road opener, because that's essentially what you're doing. The only thing about the work that I do is that it is very physical. It's going to actually come into the physical. It's not just going to be something that's going to go up in air. But the one thing I can tell you about the spiritual husbands, wives, servitors that are not incubi and not succubi, okay, is this: they will lead you to that right person. But let me tell you something: incubuses and succubuses exist in every single reality, in every frequency. They exist. That whether or not it's their existence, or if they are invading, or if they are looking to invade. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you can't completely eradicate them and keep them out, because you can, but they are always going to be present where the Holy Bible is present. So, like, you probably will run into your significant other, the one, because I asked for the one. I asked for the one that I was truly intended to be with, twin flame, soulmate, whatever it is that you want to call it. That's what I asked Aries to bring with me, and that bring to me, and that's exactly what he did. The thing of it is that the one for you, they're not going to be devoid of spiritual problems. 9.5 times out of 10, even when you open the roads for love to come in and for that meeting to happen, even when you set the destiny and the reality for you to meet the right one, that person possibly could be infested with incubuses and succubuses. These particular demons and entities, who are, some of them are upwards to as old as this planet, they have been around for quite some time. Okay. Does that mean that they're more stronger and powerful than you? No, they're not. We have been eradicating them. And I'm not saying, killing them, even though a lot of them do have to succumb. They do. And that's what ends up happening in the spiritual war plane. But they have their own home and their own frequency and their own plane of existence that they exist in, which is a shadow, right? It's like a shadow planet. They have their place to be. So basically, just telling them, hey, well, I can't say you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. When I do stuff for real. So if I'm working on a case where there's an infestation of incubus and succubus, I'm going to tell them to go home. Is where I'm going to have them go. I'm not going to say you got to get the hell out of here, because they're just going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to your family member's house. They're going to go to your children. They're going to, you know what I'm saying? So I send them packing back to where they belong. Okay. So more than likely, and that is already happening, right? And then also, you don't know what that person is going through. They could have a curse on them in a world where we look at love as control and power and domination, there are a lot of people that don't know how to let go of people that they need to let go of. So, a lot of the times when you meet somebody, no matter what plane of existence or reality they're in, they're probably going to have a hex on them. They're probably going to have a curse on them. They're probably going to have a binding curse on them from a previous lover or lovers that was not happy with the outcome and possibly curse them. And there are plenty of people with esoteric knowledge. Then also, it could be them themselves that put a curse on them, you know? So, nobody in this world is going to come without issues, especially when it comes to a man. Most men are taught and trained to ignore that stuff, and they don't really have the best spiritual eye for it. Is the solution you going and getting you a magi? Or no, it's not. It, you have to be able to keep it real. Do you want some fake or some fraud? Or do you want the one that you're meant to be with? You should want the one. I wanted the one and I got him. I got him. Okay. Just every time I look at him, I'll be like, that's me right there. That's me right there. Every time I look at him. Every time every time I see him, every time we're together, it's like this is the one. I know it for a fact, 1,000,000%. So, but that doesn't mean that and he's Christian. My significant other, he's not Christian. He's a follower of Christ. So I love him so much to where he needs some work. If I see something coming at him, I'm gonna get it off of him. If I, so obviously, right? Okay. So, but back to what I was talking about. Okay. Now, what you could do as an extra is you can ask spirit to cleanse the incubuses and succubuses off of them before you meet them. That's totally possible. But there is nobody that is going to come to you 100% clean, 100% ready. They're going to have spiritual attachments. And you know, incubus and succubus to me are easy work. But they do so much, and they are them things are notorious for gaslighting. Here's the one thing I want to tell you: what you know about them is a lie. There's no physical walking and talking incubus or succubus walking around here in the flesh. That does not exist. Okay. However, people that are born physical onto this earth can become possessed by them. But that doesn't make them an incubus or a succubus. Now, obviously, if you like, let's say your baby daddy or your ex-husband, and he had an incubus and succubus on him, he probably both, probably several, and you had a baby with him. So yeah, that means that you, him, the babies, they've got those energies attached to them. Yes. Is this something you should say, well, if God said that they should be there, they should be there? No, God didn't say that. God never said that. Why do people know? Okay. But God did give you the wisdom. Let me say the serenity prayer again. I like that prayer, even though I'm not Christian. Okay. What's the serenity prayer again? You love my PFP? What's a PFP? Profile picture. Oh, thank you. Took me a minute. What's the serenity prayer? Let's go ahead and bring that up. Okay. Now, why is it giving me a hard time finding it? I love that prayer because it's the truth, but there are things that you can change. There's a lot you can change, especially when it within yourself. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Okay? So I personally feel that the things that you cannot change or things that happen in this world to other people that may, but I feel that there's a lot that you can change. You have the power to change a lot of things, especially when it comes to your offspring and, your husbands and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. So nobody has gotten pregnant by an incubus. There's no incubus human hybrids. That doesn't exist. Possession is everywhere. So a lot of people, I think that throughout the years, the human race has really lost their identity. Okay. When it comes to possession, that's one of the things that possession will do to people to make them lose their identity. You in order for you to understand what I'm talking about, what an incubus and a succubus is, you would have to understand the astral realm. You would have to understand an interdimensional being. You would have to understand the mind, the subconscious. Okay. You would have to understand creation beyond God said, let there be light. You would have to understand it. Now, I can't really date back to the creation of incubuses and succubuses. I personally feel, for me, how I feel that they are, maybe, possibly, these could be a manifestation of inconsolable souls or desolate spirits. They could be. But from what I pick up on from them, they're not human, right? They're not necessarily human. They are almost like aliens or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't operate like the way we do, especially when it comes to their sexual nature. Um, I can tell you that the best thing you can do for yourself in this world is to eradicate them from your life. It's the best thing you can do for your children. It's the best thing you can do for your husband, wife, or significant other. It's the best thing that you can do. Number one, you'll notice that your kids ain't tired. Why are the kids tired? None of the kids want to get up. Y'all be sending these kids to bed at 7, 8, 9 o'clock. They get up at what? Some of them get up as early as 4, 5, or 6 in the morning. And they still tired. Why they so tired? They tired because of them entities feeding off of them. And yes, they are the foundation of psychic vampirism. Yes, they are. Okay, they have a lot of input into that. When it comes to your relationship with your husband or your wife, when you eradicate them, you are going to discover that you will have the best sexual encounter with your significant other that you've had in a long time. And so many people are trying to, that's just like, for some reason spirit led me to a channel, uh Taryn Guy's channel, by the way. She's been around on YouTube for years. And she just went through a whole bunch of stuff, homelessness, everything, had to go stay in a shelter. Um, but I went over there to look at her and I noticed that she did a video about pH balance of the vagina. You're still trying to look at things from a chemistry point of view. So I noticed somebody had made a comment in her comment section one of the women made a comment saying that sex is painful with her husband. They don't really have a lot of sex, you know. And why would the sex be painful? You think that that's because of your pH balance? And people come up with all kind of stuff. Yes, the first thing I thought was incubus. First thing I thought was succubus. Yes, they will make sex painful. They literally will take an erection and make it soft because it's not about human sex the way the gods designed it for us. It's something different. It's no different from if you looked at the movie Hellraiser and you remember uh the brother had went to hell and came back, and he had this little thing that he was sticking to people and suck the life of them out of them. That's not sex. That's not, and so they, they do create a lot of problems. They do. And I think that the spiritual community, I think that this is the main reason why a lot of the witchy community fell apart, because they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to acknowledge this problem. You rarely hear them talking about it. Rarely do you hear witches talking about incubuses and succubuses, because there's supposed to be this connection to us. And since when? Witches are human. We may be connected to spirit big time. We may be supernatural. We may be superhuman, but we're not, we're still human. So, witches enjoy life. We have families. Okay. All of us are not running spiritual businesses like what I'm doing. Some of us have jobs, careers. We're not, as a witch, I can tell you that since I was a child, incubuses and succubuses have been coming to me and making my life miserable from the first bout of sleep paralysis that I remember having a lot as a child. A lot. So much so to the point where I got used to it. The very first time I experienced sleep paralysis scared the soul out of me. When you're laying there and you can see everything around you, but you can't move. That's scary as hell. You're paralyzed. That is incubus and succubus encounter. And of course, when you go and you tell your mother about it, most mothers don't know what to do about that. My child come to me, say that to me, I'm rubbing sage together. I'm lighting up camphor. I'm not just lighting up a white candle to cleanse. I'm lighting up a black one too, and maybe a red one. So, it's one of those things to where, that and it just really irritates me that every single thing that is bad, the witches don't want to be bothered with incubuses and succubuses. We don't want to be bothered with them. To me, they're like parasites. I don't like them because they rob you of your life force. Okay. Being a witch doesn't make you any different. So, I just, that's why I don't really participate in I just kind of do my thing and speak my truth, and I keep it moving because I just think it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and then there's some people on the other side of the coin. They what witches will do is they will embrace everything simply because the Bible said not to. And I think that's a mistake also, because the Bible was telling the truth when it called out incubuses and succubuses, as well as sometimes the Jezebel spirit. Okay? Sometimes Jezebel also. Even though I don't think that Jezebel is as bad, I think that the incubuses and the succubuses are who we mainly need to focus on. And I believe that it's going to be really interesting whenever Pluto goes into retrograde. Pluto is going into retrograde on May the 5th and will be in retrograde until October the 15th. Okay. So I think that this is a time right now. We've already done the retrograde work over here has already been done. Um, as far as with these retrogrades, I've done work to assist me with assisting others and, doing that work. But I think that a lot of people need to look and figure out. Right now we're getting a lot of clarity because right now currently there are no planets in retrograde. Well, Pluto is getting ready to go into retrograde, so get ready. Okay, I'm actually doing a private group at first, to where I'm going to be doing some group work for people, and then I'll open it up to the public. But this Pluto retrograde is going to be a trip. And it's going to, I can already see, judging by my readings that I'm doing, that it's already going to be affecting the Leos and the Virgos specifically. Okay, it's going to affect all of us, but it's really going to have a nasty effect from what I could see on Leos in particular for some reason, which is really interesting. So, anywho. So I wanted to make the distinction for you guys. When I speak about creating your spiritual husband, creating your spiritual wife, I am not talking about an incubus or a succubus. And, I can promise you that. In fact, you can even tell by looking at me, I'm not using filters. Um, since I have met my significant other, my body has filled out. I look younger. My skin is glowing. If my honey bunny was an incubus, I'd be gray and half dead with black lips, purple lips, damn near half dead. You know what I'm saying? I would be. So, yeah, no. Okay. So that's not what's happening with that. Okay. Um, it's more like a servitor. You know what I mean? So yeah, I wanted to make that distinction. But it's a lot of, what irritates me. That's just like the crucifix, the cross. Or just certain symbols and things and sayings and words. Certain groups will take it and it ends up getting twisted. That's just like the swastika. It's evil now. It's evil now. The swastika is evil now. But the swastika was originally created as a symbol of wealth and prosperity. But I guess the what are them, the Nazis? The Nazis turned it bad because of the evil that they do. So then I wouldn't. Yeah, no. It's just a whole trip. But anyway, I wanted to come and discuss that. I'm confused about why I only got one thumbs up, though. There were like several people in here. I really honestly do not care. But, thumbs up, it doesn't cost you anything to put a thumbs up on my videos. I'm really confused about what is going on. Now, I do know that this particular channel was advertised on the other channel where the stalkers insist on following me from platform to platform. But, they have been asked to leave. They have been asked to leave. And I can't promise what my spirits will do to you if you don't go, because some of these people are taking my information and recycling it and using it for their own platforms, but they're not giving me anything. So anything that you take from me, you're going to give back. You're going to give back, and it ain't going to take years. You are going to be in debt to me, and you will pay your debt to me regardless if you want to or not, because thievery and stealing is not allowed over here. This is the reason why I don't talk about nothing. This is the reason why I'm doing the Pluto group ritual, and I will not be divulging any of the spiritual information that I know. I'm just not doing it anymore, because what I found that in social media, what people will do is they will take your information, they won't really have a true understanding of it, and they'll try to use it, but they don't want to give credit to where credit is due. Well, I'm going to take my credit, I'm going to take it anyway. If I go to somebody's channel and I get good information from them, I'm going to at least leave a thumbs up or hype their video. I'm not going to sit up there and try to steal it and take it as my own information. I just recently caught somebody doing this just today. Okay, I'm not going to say who it is because I don't do stuff like that. But I noticed this person mentioning something, and you know what? You're going to these channels, and and you're getting all of these views for your channel, but you're stealing from smaller channels, because my channels are smaller because of the stupid ass people that flagged my channel. But the point is that, which probably was including everybody, I'm still going to get my money for it. I'm still going to get everything I deserve for it. And then you're going to end up with nothing, straight up and down. You're going to end up with nothing, because, you really don't have a true understanding of what we're doing anyway. If you were actually divine and knew anything that we were actually talking about, you wouldn't have to steal from us with an attitude problem. Like, you got an actual attitude, like you mad that you had to get your information from somebody else, and you got the nerve to have an attitude. So I've noticed that a lot. So when y'all listen to the playback, make sure y'all hit the thumbs up. I want all of these people that are here trying to steal information from me. That's why I will not speak to you about how to eradicate incubuses and succubuses. I will not speak about the formula, the spiritual formula to do that I know about. I'm not going to do it publicly at all, because I personally feel like authentic witches already gave up too much information to people. So I'm not going to speak about it publicly. I'm going to keep that to myself, because I can promise you that that's your issue. So I'm not going to do it, but I would really like for these people to leave. If I'm going to get 7 thumbs up, my video needs to have 7 views, or maybe double that amount. If I'm going to get 14, 20, 30 views on my channel, then you know what I'm saying? At least a third of that should be thumbs up. Everybody don't hit the thumbs up because everybody ain't logged into YouTube. All these extra views from these people that are coming by, getting and taking information, trying to desperately steal energy that you can't. But you running around here trying to steal my information that I talk about and my ideas. You have been asked to leave, and you will be forced off of my channel. It's too many of them. It's too many of them running behind me. And if I wasn't about nothing, if I truly were not who I say I am, then why are you running behind me? Okay. So, there it is right there. But I just don't want any communion with these people, because I feel as though it was a glitch in the first place. And I just really wish, I'm not even going to lie to y'all, that God would just give these people amnesia or something, so that they can forget I ever existed. Because I can't stand that. Get off of my channels. You're not supposed to be here to begin with. So I don't like those people. So make sure that if you enjoy the content and you're really here to commune with me, and you're not negative, and you're not hate watching me, and you're not delusional thinking that you're supposed to be some damn night watcher, or you're supposed to be watching over me, make sure you hit the thumbs up, okay? And share this video and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time, okay? All right. Bye.